So to really tell Brandon's story, we need to go back to February 19th of 2002. That was his birthday. I was about 6.5 years old and a little disgruntled, if I might add, because my parents were doing something without me. How dare they? But he came into this world, and at first, I was a little angry. Like, those were my parents. I was the only child for my first little bit, but he quickly won everybody over. He was a very bright and happy personality that would do anything to make anybody laugh. He was definitely somebody who went out of his way to make sure that everybody else was happy. I was having a couple friends over for a sleepover, and we had the tent in the back and everything, of course. And I was like, "Oh, Brandon, like, why are you around?" And he was grabbing my friends' bags, and he was putting them in my room, and he's like, "Do you guys want snacks? Do you guys want water?" Like, he was just, we called him Brandon the butler, and he would come and he tried to knock on the tent and be like, "Are you okay in there?" Like, always checking on us and everything. And it was just like, oh my God, who is this kid? And he actually ended up hanging out with us for a little bit there too. And those are the memories that we like to hang on to. That's who I remember. And as time went on and we spent time as family together, we slowly started noticing like little bit bigger tantrums that he would throw. It was just a simple question, "Hey, do you mind cleaning your room?" And it would be like the end of the world to him. And we never really understood why it was such a big deal to clean his room. Like, it never really came to light as anything other than a young kid throwing a tantrum. And it was a battle for my dad and my brother to kind of come onto some common ground. And my brother's a little kid, like, he's gonna throw all these tantrums. So that took a lot of effort and everything on my dad's part to try and come to an agreement on cleaning a room. Just before I started like moving out and everything, you could kind of slowly see Brandon isolating himself a little bit more and really into video games. Didn't really want to talk to us, didn't really want to hang out with us. We would have rider parties with our groups of friends, or yeah, everyone in Maple Creek, and he just seemed really disinterested. And he was coming to the age of where he was, almost 12, coming on like in that age where you don't want to hang out with anyone in your family. Like, that's not cool. So been there, so I get it. But that's what we chalked it up to, is just Brandon being a normal, almost teenager. And as I moved out and kind of started moving on with my life to the next step in the next chapter, Brandon started getting into, I don't want to say the wrong crowd, because they are good people too, but he started doing things for acceptance. And so it started with like a stolen car, and then it started with getting caught with a bunch of weed, and this was before weed was legalized, so of course that was a bigger deal back then. His friends that he surrounded himself with had access to harder drugs. I don't know where Brandon was getting the money for it, but you could slowly start seeing the personality change and slowly start seeing that he didn't want anything to do with the family. And this was at the ripe age of 12, 13 years old. So it was, okay, court dates for the car. Then it was kind of jail, but not really. And it was like, okay, you're obviously going through a mental health crisis. So it was trying to diagnose him with mental health issues. However, he wouldn't let go of the marijuana or drugs long enough for the doctors and medical professionals to make a concrete diagnosis. It took a really long time before we ever got any answers of drug-induced psychosis. And that's where it kind of all began. That really escalated. My dad, he worked as a surveyor in the oil field, and he wasn't home a lot, and he worked in the field a lot too, so it was him taking off time for work all the time, and trying to facilitate that, and that caused, I think, a little bit of resentment, because you can't, like, you're trying to provide for a whole house and everything, and I can see where my dad's coming from with that. But it got to a point where my brother and my dad couldn't really live together anymore. Like, it was pretty bad. They got into some pretty bigger fights, and it became very toxic and unhealthy. So he moved to Gravelburg. That's where he lived with our grandparents in Gravelburg for a bit. And this is where we get into his first overdose. He obviously had medication for his mental health to like calm what was going on in his brain. And one night he decided to take all the pills in the bottle. He got rushed to Moose Jaw Hospital, but he eventually came through, and that was phenomenal. But we all were kind of confused, because you know, you don't want to die, do you? Like what's going on here? We wanted to have that conversation with him and being like, where are you at? Because clearly, like, we missed something, or something's going on that we had no idea about. And he said he didn't want to die, but he thought taking all the pills would make him better. So clearly he did want to get better. So this led to him being back into treatment for mental health, and back into you know, the routine of all those places. And every time he would get released, it was right back to the drugs, and right back to the same thing over and over again. And it was this pattern that continued to happen. Then he got into a place in Regina. He was there and to sober up and to really, you know, focus on him and get his life back on course. It was like one-on-one in these little houses with just, it's like not one-on-one, but like these people that are in this house, and they get this one person to care for them all the time. And every night it's somebody else who's cooking, and every night it's somebody else who's doing a chore kind of thing. They all share, and they all learn how to learn together and live together in a group setting. And that's when things got even harder. Brandon turned 18. If you don't want your family knowing stuff, we're not able to intervene. And we kind of had somewhat of control, and to be like checking in all the time, staying in contact, all the things. And now, like, he didn't want to talk to any of us. He was angry. He was really, really angry. And I think part of that is our mom being in Alberta. I think he felt, from messages that he sent our grandma, he felt jealous of me because he told my grandma that I was some star child. And everyone gravitated towards me versus him, so he probably felt alone and abandoned from not just our mom, but our family too, a little bit. And that wasn't the case at all. You know, we really loved him the way he was. We tried to show him that, but unfortunately, being so compromised that you're not thinking clearly, he didn't see it that way. He was learning all these things, how to live. He was doing really good. He was going to the gym. He was really, we thought he was doing really good. And then he got transferred to Swift Current here in Swift Current to get an apartment by himself, to live by himself. And it was a huge snowball effect from there. He got right back into the drugs. It's the same story all over again. He couldn't keep a job, so he would lose apartments. He would trash the apartments. He had a dog at one point, in which that dog meant the world to him. He's an animal lover, but if he's not able to take care of himself, he can't even take care of a dog, sort of thing. And it got to the point where, like, at this point we were completely cut off as a family. He didn't want anything to do with us. He didn't want to talk to us. Anytime he saw my dad around town here in Swift Current, he would like come at my dad and be like, "What the F are you doing?" And I'm gonna kill you, like all these things. And that's not Brandon. And as I'm telling this story, you can kind of see how things like slowly changed over the years. And as a family, we're so blinded because we still see that innocent boy that just wanted to be everybody's friend. It just got to the point where it was so bad, and that all he would do, he would post on his Snapchat. I don't think he realized he had me on Snapchat, but I was on his Snapchat, and he would post him doing drugs. He would post him bong rip after bong rip, and he was never sober anymore. My dad said he saw him one day, just kind of like hanging out by a tree. You could clearly tell like he hasn't showered in days, kind of thing. Like, Dad didn't even know if he had a place anymore. And then one day we got that final call, and he was no longer with us. And as morbid as this is gonna sound, it was almost a relief in the sense that we didn't have to worry about him anymore. We didn't have to worry about what's tomorrow gonna bring. You know, he's at peace. But you still don't expect it, and you don't expect it to happen to you or your family at all. And then it did. And we tried really hard to get him all the treatment. Like, he spent so much time in treatment and getting the right doctors in front of him and talking to people and trying to get the right medications together. But even when he was on these medications, you know, he was so separated and so different. Like part of his soul was just gone, you know? And so when you get that call that, you know, Brandon's no longer with us anymore, it's kind of weird, if I'm honest, because our real Brandon left a long time ago. But now that his physical body's gone, you're kind of in a state, well, how are you supposed to feel, you know? And with this still being so fresh, like, it's still hard to process. It doesn't seem real sometimes. Like, he still pops up on my phone every now and again, and it's like, oh yeah, but then it's like, oh wait, you know? And I really, people ask me all the time, like, how are you doing? And how are you making out and everything? And, you know, most days it's okay, and you've kind of accepted it because you already half accepted it already. But the other half, it's like, he's still around, right? Like, he's still here. You're kind of in denial. And you still want that little boy to just be right there with you, but he really is gone. And every time you talk about it, it gets a little more real and a little more real. For younger people, I'd love them to know that they aren't alone. And if you feel like this is the only choice you have, I promise there's other choices. I promise there's people that love you. And I promise that there's people there that want to support you in sobriety. It's a hard road, and it won't be easy. But you'll thank yourself later. And you have to be able to trust yourself to get through that. And I really hope that people, yeah, they're not alone. They really, really aren't. It's a lonely place to be in that situation, and they're really not alone.